Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dartagnan101, and welcome to the Shoutcast between Witcher and I think it was Dartagnan. Hopefully I got that right. We'll see as we go into the game here. Witcher just had an amazing game against Monks, and I was just waiting to see who would be starting up a match sooner or later. If you're wondering why there's a countdown timer, as the way the game works, to prevent stream sniping, there is a delay on spectator matches. This is usually opted in by the players themselves, which makes a lot of sense, as I believe Witcher is a Twitch streamer, same as Monks and quite a few other professional, or well, top tier players anyway, when it comes to Mechabellum. I don't know if anyone's actually done a professional tournament in the game yet, as it is still in early access, but I can absolutely see this game taking off in the near future. It'd be a lot of fun to see some professional paid matches sometime in the future. It'd be really cool. We see another amazing match prior to this one, so if you want to see more Shoutcasts, do consider checking those out. I always try and put a card on the top right of the screen for you guys to see there. And let's jump on into it. It's Dartagnan, or Dartagnan. There you go, Dartagnan, we got it. It's like my nickname in high school, oh my god. My name's Dalton, so every now and again I'd be called Dartagnan. That's great, I love that. Never actually thought about the spelling of it though. Dartagnan, that's a good one. Giant Specialist versus, it looks like, Elite Specialist. It looks like on the light side of the board here we have Witcher spawning in with 2 steel balls, 3 crawlers, as well as Elite Specialist, meaning all new units purchased will be tier 2. Very powerful, usually doubles the HP and damage of the unit. Very powerful indeed against his opponent in the dark square, Dartagnan, coming in as the Giant Specialist, meaning they will no longer need to spend anything to unlock giant units, which can be extremely critical, and that does include the Overlord, which is an aerial unit. Very powerful indeed. Much like the Aerial Specialist, who is able to unlock all air units, the Giants can all be unlocked for free. Looks like we have 2 Sledgehammers as the default spawners here out on the Dartagnan side of the map, as well as 3 Marksmen, 2 Crawlers, and a Partridge in a pear tree. Coming out into the center of the board, we're on Railway today. Although no major difference in the maps overall. Crawlers on both the top and bottom side of the map. Relatively symmetric builds on both sides. Coming on through, distracting those steel balls, but once the steel balls decide to get through those crawlers, they're going to go out on the sledgehammers here. But looks like from Dartagnan, perfect early game composition to deal with the composition here on Witcher's side. And Witcher loses the first round, but again, the first round is always the most volatile. You never really know where everyone's going to position their units or how to best counter them. You don't even know what they're going to take for the first initial go there. Looks like the first grabs are Haste Module and Enhancement Module. Haste Module does increase the attack by 40% of whatever unit you give it to, as well as I believe the module gives them a movement speed buff of 5, which is really, really nice. So huge ability there. Already getting tier 2 Mustangs out. Again, Elite Specialist, so nice for being able to do that, but it does mean that it costs just a bit more to be able to get those units out in the field. So Witcher opting in for 2 Mustangs there. Can't see which unit actually got the enhancement module here on Dartagnan's side. Doesn't look like anything was actually positioned quite yet, unless I missed it somewhere here. Doesn't matter though, we got a huge army coming out into the center of the field here. Let's see, take a look at the northernmost side. Looks like the crawlers are going in. Ooh, some of the crawlers from Witcher actually decided to try and scoot around and go for the arc lights. But arc lights, great answer to both Mustangs and light shaft units. Sledgehammer starting to get some shots in on here from the Mustangs. And at tier 2, Mustangs are no joke. They can do some serious damage here. Sniper's not going to be able to handle that. So it looks like the northern side of the map does get taken care of by Witcher. And on the southern side, Dartagnan goes for the win here. But in a call of events, due to the victory at the north for Witcher, he was able to destroy the command center and be able to thwart that sniper who would have handily won against those few Mustangs there. Not that he would have won against the overall build. Wow, looks like we have lots of great choices here. Heavy armor going out for Witcher, which will increase the HP of any unit by 100%. And I believe we just saw some steel balls go out in the field, which could mean that they're getting that heavy armor upgrade. I'm really curious to see what Dartagnan goes for. And also a heavy armor upgrade, both sides of the field. We're seeing sledgehammers versus steel balls with a cool column of marksmen coming out here. And Vulcan, we're going to see a giant already early into the game here. Giant specialist does make sense, though. Fits with the theme. Finally getting to see it pay off. We'll absolutely toast Mustangs, crawlers, and deal with that very, very quickly. However, that could open up the Vulcan to the steel balls. But at the end of the day, really the Vulcan is there to chew through that chaff. So we're going to see a lot of toasty crawlers, a lot of toasty Mustangs on that side of the board there. And then potentially a dead Vulcan, but not before these marksmen can maybe chew through those steel balls. Could be very, very powerful indeed. And we do see that heavy armor going out on the steel balls that just got recruited at tier 2 for Witcher. And I do believe heavy armor went on that Vulcan there. Nice. So we're going to see a pretty massive battle here in the north. One sentry missile goes out, destroys almost an entire squad of crawlers. Let's pay attention to the north here on this first battle between Witcher and D'Artagnan. Round number 3 kicking off, and massive fire damage going out consistently on those steel balls. Surprisingly, a decent amount of damage, and now we're seeing some serious damage go out on that Vulcan. Is it going to go down? And yes, it does. Looks like the northern side is going to be a massive win here for the Witcher. Coming down to the south, also looks like Witcher's barely able to push it through here. However, it looks like the Sledgehammer's health and the snipers will be able to push it through this time around, but they're not going to be enough to deal with the northern victory, especially on the cusp of dealing with that negative impact of losing their command center. And there you go, another round 1 for Witcher. Incredible. So far, relatively close. Health bars pretty close here in terms of percentage loss. However, Witcher is currently at 3,700 HP versus D'Artagnan's, I believe that's around 3,200 or 3,150. Looks like we got a skip from D'Artagnan, so he's going for the additional 50 credits. It's always an option you can go for if you don't like any of the options given to you so far. The Giant Hunter or Portable Shield is probably a great choice at the moment for Witcher, as he's mostly going to see more Giants coming out in the field. However, I don't think that D'Artagnan really showed off his hand too early here. So I'm curious to see what kind of pans out at the moment. Witcher, making a decision. What could it be? You're going for Giant Hunter. I like it. I like the way to see it. Lots of upgrades available on D'Artagnan's side, but opting for a T1 build, possibly assuming they can't keep up with the massive amount of T2 units going to be coming out on Witcher's side. 2 fortresses out on the field. No heavy armor upgrade, of course, because that was given to the Vulcan. Oh, we are going to see some upgrades here. Nice. So marksmen obviously have a great ability called Elite Marksman, which later down the line means more range, more attack per level. So if you can get your core marksman line leveled up and ready to go, they can pretty much handle just about anything as long as it's a big target and a big singular target anyway. Looks like we're getting an upgrade here on one of the Mustangs in the rear side of the Witcher's board, the light board here. Range enhancement going to help deal with any sort of, well, actually, not much here other than the crawlers. The crawlers will run ahead of the fortresses and then get shot by the Mustangs. Mustangs with AP might be really nice here after he witnesses the madness that is fortresses, which will be really nice against those steel balls. So those steel balls will be really nice against those fortresses. So I am curious to see what will happen here. You know what? We've been watching too much of the north. Let's go into the south and see exactly what happens here. Witcher coming in with his 4 steel balls, 2 sets of crawlers, Mustangs versus Fortress, 1 Sledgehammer squad, and Arclight, 2 marksmen. And looks like this one is going to D'Artagnan. The Fortress is just too much. Those Mustangs not able to eke out a victory there. However, the same can't be said for D'Artagnan in the north. Looks like this massive T3, T2 Mustang squad, as well as steel balls, was able to overcome the Fortress and the Vulcan in the north. I'm not sure if the Vulcan was sold up in the north. That's definitely a possibility. I wasn't paying attention too closely to that. I'm sure you viewers out there might have noticed whether or not that was done to be able to purchase the fortresses, the Fortress Eye, which I believe is how you can get back your item there. D'Artagnan losing the match, or not the match, but the round, but not by much. So it was actually pretty impressive there. It does look that the Vulcan was sold in that last round to be able to make way for that twin fortress play there. And it did pay off in the south, not necessarily in the north, but it does make sense to go for it as the fortresses are nice and tanky and can be upgraded with Rocket Punch, which I think I just saw in the background there. But I was going to say Barrier, which is very strong. We also saw Incendiary Bomb grabbed by D'Artagnan. Standard barriers being dropped, so those are deployable options that you can place on the map for 100 credits each, which can cost a hefty amount, but Obviously, we could be seeing barriers later down the line. Which you are still making a decision here. Going for charged ammo to help deal with potentially rocket punch here. Charged shot, if it's placed down on the right unit and they get the right shot out, could be really, really nice here. Curious what he'll put it on. We have another tier 2 steel ball going out on Witcher's side of the board. And we do see incendiary coming from Dartagnan's side to help deal with all this chaff. Should be able to murder those Mustangs as long as they get clumped up and stopped up in that spot, and the crawlers will stand no chance getting through there as they should beeline straight over. We're seeing some sentry missiles coming down now from Witcher, and I am curious, where is he? Oh, he put them down on these tier 2 Mustangs here in the south. Very, very cool. Very, very cool indeed. All right, here we go. Round number 5 still could be anyone's game. Ignition coming out, you'll see as they go through here. Those crawlers all dying. The sentry missile goes out, but it's completely wasted on the fortress. And once the fortress drops below, there it is, below a certain health threshold, he launches his rocket hole punch and absolutely decimated the steel balls, countering the counter, as I like to say. And unfortunately, his own crawlers do die in their own misfortune, but that's okay. And even the south side here, Dartagnan pulling it back. Even his own crawlers surviving the battle, and the Mustangs forced to fire away into the rocket punch primed fortress on D'Artagnan's side. Like I said, still anyone's game. 1900 health to D'Artagnan's 2685. Moving on in the next round here. Plenty of great choices. Photon emission will allow you to defend massive amounts of your troops in the first 16 seconds, receiving 50% reduced damage. Witcher opting to go for amplifying core, which increases the health of unit. Both sides going for amplifying core, increasing the health and damage of the specific units it's applied to by 75%. Absolute insanity. Very, very powerful indeed. We currently see enhanced module, which means upgrades on this fortress are reduced to 0, which is great. Usually costs about 200 to upgrade these things, so very, very expensive. And of course, we have heavy armor on the other fortress. So curious what D'Artagnan actually applied that module to. Looks like he's actually holding on to it here. And I believe, no doubt, the steel balls most likely got that upgrade here, or we're not seeing it. Oh, I wonder where the Witcher put them. I'm sure it's somewhere. Watch it be on crawlers or something ridiculous. I don't even see it. I don't see it anywhere. I wonder why. I swear I saw him grab amplifying core. It must be there, and I just don't see it because I'm blind as a bat. I don't know what it is. Unless there's a flank. Nope. I just don't see it. I'm curious. Here's what happened there. All right. Couple crawlers getting upgraded in the rear side. D'Artagnan now out of money. Did go for a mass recruitment, so we see lots of new users out on the map. Users, players, boards, units, whatever they're called. Let's watch this massive encounter on the south, though. We do see 2 fortresses out, one with amplifying core, a T1 amplifying core. That's pretty good. That's almost like it's upgraded in and of itself. But will it be enough to deal with 2 giant steel ball columns mixed with a couple columns of Mustangs included with charged ammo, which will negate that rocket punch if they even get a single shot on there? And there it is, disabling that fortress. But will it be enough to be able to stop this twin fortress play? Nah, there's a few sledgehammers there. I don't see it happening. And once again, on the northern side, just so many Mustangs out on the field for Witcher. But will it be enough to handle with this Mustang? 2 snipers are just going to be constantly picking us off while the fortress is soaking up the damage. I don't think it's going to be enough, and there's another loss there for Witcher. Round number 6, finishing up, moving on to round 7. Could be the final round. 272 on Witcher to D'Artagnan's 2685. Incredible plays by both players, but I don't know if Witcher will be able to turn it around here. But it's always anyone's game in Mechabellum. One massive play, one correct play can always turn the tides. Barrier coming out for Witcher, and looks like skill specialist, which decreases how often you can use skills, or rather increases how often you can use skills, allowing him to get that sticky oil bomb up and running. Curious if he goes for anything to ignite that oil on the ground to get a nice fire damage out to do significant damage to those Mustangs. Massive upgrades coming out on the marksman. Wouldn't be surprised if we see any other upgrades on top of that, or if he's going to continue to stay with his standardized marksman here. Of course, understanding that charged ammo is out in the field. to try and negate these marksmen, or excuse me, these fortresses on the south side of D'Artagnan's field. We're seeing rapid resupply coming out for Witcher, hoping to turn the tides. A melting point twin tier 2 melting points coming out with electromagnetic barrage, which will not only slow their opponents, but also disable any of their tech on top of that. Very powerful, very scary to have them out in the northern side of the field, but we do see, is that barrier? Why is it not showing me a barrier? There we go. Is that barrier out? 60,000 HP to protect nearby units. That's going to be insane. It's going to really keep him alive here. Crawlers will, of course, rush ahead to help defend the melting point, as the speed of the melting point is only 6 meters a second. And range upgrade not out there for the melting points, though. So they will have to move up significantly to try and counter those shields, to counter those fortresses. We do see twin fortresses on both sides. Oil coming out, which will really gum up and slow down the units there. D'Artagnan, smart play. Look how slow they are. And if Rocket Punch comes out, it could be absolutely devastating. We'll see. Electromagnetic discharge, whatever it's called. Yep, barrage, excuse me, coming out there. Trying to stop the Rocket Punch, but it's not connecting. Not quite yet. A next barrage is on the shot, coming out, disabling the tier 3 fortress, but the tier 2 is still good to go. But it doesn't matter because the tier 3 is going to go down, and there he is. He's out of the commission, and Rocket Punch coming out, but it's not enough. The melting point survives and absolutely decimates the northern side of the field here, and even in the south, the snipers can't hold it off. Wow, a perfect counter here from Witcher. No doubt showing why he's here. Top MMR player, or at least one of the top I've seen in Mechabellum. Absolutely incredible. Can hold his own. It's still anyone's game here. Big turnaround. Like I said, now he did go for rapid resupply, which means he's slightly more in debt. He won't have nearly as much money as D'Artagnan in this round, unless D'Artagnan pulled his rapid resupply, but I didn't see it there. Didn't see him go for that there. We do have Giant Hunter still out in the field, along with skill specialists between our two opponents. Melting point leveled from that. Amazing encounter, both melting points. Curious to see if Witcher ends up going for the upgrades there. Fortresses are getting range enhanced on D'Artagnan's side of the field. And now we're seeing some upgrades. Rapid resupply now coming out on D'Artagnan's side. Will we see the same? Oh, and Witcher going for a third melting point. When you have one, why not go for all of them? Another fire grenade coming out was a napalm blast. I always forget the name of it. What is it called here? Incendiary bomb. You know, close enough. It's basically napalm. Hoping to link it with the oil blast that's now on the ground. Very smart play. You do typically see it quite often here in higher level play, where they link together their oil spray. So instead of the oil now slowing down units, it just burns them alive. But don't worry, no humans were harmed in the battle here, as it's all robots, it's all mechs. Don't worry about it, right? At least I assume it's all like AI-controlled machinery. For all I know, there's thousands of people in these melting points just getting absolutely murdered. Who knows? And another melting point coming out. This is absolutely an incredible match here. 4 fortresses, 4 melting points out on both opponents' side of the field. This is absolutely insane. Barrage coming out. Let's pay attention to the northern side here. Does the fire link over? It doesn't look like it's close enough to trigger the oil blast, but it doesn't quite matter. The slowdown is still taking place here, but the Mustangs are just in range, so it doesn't matter. But beautiful orbital bombardments, which are randomized missiles coming out on the field, taking out massive swaths of Mustangs here. Shouldn't be too much for the Mustangs to go down, and it looks like on the northern side of the field, it's going to be a damned win for D'Artagnan. Southern side of the field, though, looks like these melting points potentially have the shots to win it, but they're so low health now, and the fire might just do them in. Here it comes. Fortress coming up. He has Rocket Punch, but not the range, because he got disabled by the barrage, and just barely that melting point won the southern fight, but it's not enough, and it looks like D'Artagnan, beautiful play, staying strong, not changing up the game too much by the end, even after a brief loss on the last round there, and he gets the win. Beautiful game by both competitors. This is high MMR gaming, folks. Mechabellum at its best, at its peak, back and forth, all the way through to round 8. I'm Ackerman101. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys would like to see some more, there's always a playlist in the link down below to see more Shoutcasts of these awesome matches going on live here on Mechabellum. Come check it out and play the game. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good time, especially if you don't want to do a bunch of micro. Mechabellum itself, such a fun game to play. Go check it out, guys. I'm Ackerman101. See you all next time. Take care.